In this video, I want to share a technique that ancient yogis understood 3,000 years ago and that a research team at Oregon Health and Science University confirmed in an MRI scanner in 2022, something that has the potential to change the way you age for the better. First, we're going to dive into the science and then we're going to do the technique together so you can feel it for yourself and then you're going to know what to do to support age reversal. This is biohacking at its best and simplest. You don't need any fancy equipment and you don't need to spend a lot of money. All you need to do is to do the technique I'm going to show you in this video, so stick around. We've been told that aging is about our cells, our telomeres, our mitochondria, our genes, and yes, all that is true, but there's a system inside your body that most people have never heard of, a system that when it works, actively slows the aging process from the inside, a system that cleans your brain every night while you sleep. It's clearing the proteins linked to Alzheimer's. It's clearing away the debris of stress and overthinking. And when that system isn't working, that's when the fog sets in. That's when inflammation builds. And that's when you wake up feeling older than when you went to bed. That system has a name. It's called the glymphatic system. And one thing drives it. One thing keeps it alive. And it's something most of us have never been taught to do properly. Yes, it's all about how you breathe. But first, the science. Here's what's actually happening inside you right now. Your brain floats in a fluid, cerebrospinal fluid, or otherwise known as CSF. This fluid isn't static, it pulses, it circulates, and its job, among many things, is to flush out the metabolic waste your brain accumulates every day. The byproducts of thinking, of stress, of simply being alive. And in 2012, researchers at the University of Rochester discovered that this flushing system, they named it the glymphatic system, is most active during sleep. It's your brain's nightly wash cycle. And when it's impaired, when it's not working, the fluid stagnates. And that's when waste accumulates. Those proteins linked to Alzheimer's, to Parkinson's, to cognitive decline. Scientists now understand that a poorly functioning glymphatic system is one of the key drivers of accelerated brain aging. This is documented, peer-reviewed, and measured. But here's a game changer. In 2022, a study, peer-reviewed, published in Scientific Reports, funded by the National Institute of Health, measured CSF velocity in real time in an MRI scanner. And they found that when people practice deep abdominal breathing, belly breathing, the kind that has been the foundation of yogic breathing for centuries, the upward velocity of their cerebrospinal fluid increased by up to 118%. That's not a marginal change, that's a dramatic shift, driven entirely by the breath. Yes, breathing is the key. But it needs to be a particular type of breathing. Every time you take a deep, full belly breath, you are manually pumping your brain's cleaning system. You are doing what your body was designed to do during sleep. You are actively working against the accumulation of the very waste that accelerates aging. You are, in a very literal sense, washing your brain. Now, to ancient yogis, none of this is new. There are Vedic texts that describe the central energy channel along the spine, which is called the Sushumna Nadi. The earliest references appear in one of the Upanishad texts written about 800 BC, nearly 3,000 years ago. Sushumna is the central, most important energy channel in the human energy body. It runs through the spine from the tailbone to the crown of the head. It is sitting between two other main energy channels, Ida on the left and Pingala on the right. When these channels are in balance, when the Sushumna is open and flowing, the body is in a state of equilibrium. It's in a state of repair and what may be referred to as biological youth. And what was the practice that unlocks the Sushumna? Pranayama, yogic breathing, the deliberate conscious movement of breath and of the energy that breath carries through the body. The Garanda Samhita, a classical Hatha Yoga text, states, when the nadis are full of impurities, Vayu does not enter them. Vayu means wind, breath, or vital force. And when we breathe shallowly, energy channels close, prana stagnates, and the body begins what the ancients would have called decay, and what modern researchers now call inflammaging. Inflammaging is the actual scientific term for the age related low grade chronic inflammation driven by an overactive sympathetic nervous system, one of the most significant and measurable contributors to accelerated aging. And your breath is one of the most direct tools you have to counter it, because breath is one of the only voluntary inputs to the autonomic nervous system. You can't consciously slow your heartbeat, but you can consciously change your breath. And when you do, you change your biology. So let me show you how to do this. It's called three-part breath, Dirga Pranayama in Sanskrit, and sometimes known as Maha Yoga Pranayama. Dirga means long or complete, and Maha means great. This is the breathing pattern that research has shown most dramatically increases CSF velocity, activates the glymphatic system, and shifts the nervous system out of fight or flight and into repair. I'll walk you through each phase, and then we're going to do 3 rounds together. Phase 1 is the belly breath. You put one hand on your belly and you breathe in through the nose, drawing the air slowly through the back of the throat so you can hear a soft, steady sound. Your chest stays still, your shoulders stay still, just your belly moves, expanding outward on the inhale, like you're inflating a balloon behind your navel. This is actually the way babies and young children naturally breathe. If you watch any sleeping infant, you'll see the whole belly is rising and falling. Somewhere along the way, most of us lost this. Years of stress, sitting on screens, holding ourselves in. The diaphragm, the great dome-shaped breathing muscle beneath our lungs, quietly went to sleep. So relearning this single movement is one of the most anti-aging things you can do for your brain and your nervous system. Phase 2 is the rib expansion. Breathe into your belly first, and then you continue inhaling into the ribs. You feel them expand in all directions, front, sides, and back, like an umbrella opening. This is the middle part of the 3-part breath. And then phase 3 is the upper chest. We are breathing into the belly, the ribs, and then all the way up into the top of the chest until you can feel the collarbones gently lift. That's the full inhale. 3 parts, one continuous wave. We inhale to a count of 3, belly 1, ribs 2, collarbones 3, and then we exhale, reversing it. Collarbones drop 3, chest releases 2, belly draws in 1. And at the very end of the exhale, notice the gentle, natural contraction of the lower abdomen. That is the completion of 1 full round. Are you ready to do 3 rounds together? Steady and slow. Inhaling belly 1, ribs 2, chest 3. Exhaling chest 3, ribs 2, belly 1. Inhaling belly 1, ribs 2, chest 3. Exhaling chest 3, ribs 2, belly 1. Inhaling belly 1, ribs 2, chest 3. Exhaling chest 3, ribs 2, belly 1. You should feel this as a full deep inhale and a long slow exhale. And then sit quietly for just a few seconds, tuning in to what's happening inside of you. Notice how you're feeling right now in your body. A warmth, perhaps, a stillness, a subtle shift in how much space there is inside of you. Your nervous system just received a signal that it is safe, that it can move out of a threat mode and into something quieter. That is the parasympathetic response activating, what neuroscience calls an increase in vagal tone, what the Vedic tradition called prana entering Sushumna, and what your cells experience as a pause in the aging process. And here's what I love about this practice. You don't need an hour. You don't need equipment. You don't need any special setting. just 5 to 10 minutes. And the best time, based on both traditional guidance and the circadian research on glymphatic function, is in the morning. Before you pick up the phone, before caffeine, before the noise of the day starts to build, give yourself 5 to 10 minutes, around 20 to 40 rounds of 3-part breathing. And you are setting the biological tone for your entire day. You are telling your nervous system, we begin in parasympathetic, not sympathetic, in repair mode, not threat mode, in a state where healing happens, where aging slows, and where the body remembers what restoration feels like. And over time, and the research on vagal tone is consistent here, that shift will accumulate. Your heart rate variability will improve, your inflammatory markers will decrease, your body over weeks and months will become immeasurably better at its own recovery. This is not a metaphor, this is biomarkers, things that can be tested, tracked, and seen. The ancient yogis had a word for what we're building: pranatana, the awakening of prana. Not spiritual decoration, but a daily lived practice of returning the body to its natural state, the state it was in before the stress, before shallow breathing, before decades of fight or flight layered themselves over the top of it. Remember this: the glymphatic system does its deepest work while you sleep. The vagus nerve does its anti-inflammatory work when you are in a state of safety and rest. Breath is how you signal safety to a body that has forgotten what safety feels like. One last thing. This video is not telling you that breathing reverses aging overnight. What it is telling you is that your body has a biological mode designed for repair, restoration, and renewal, and that most of us spend very little time there. Your breath is the most direct, most accessible way. No cost, no equipment, no prescription. You've always held that key. You just need reminding. If this resonated with you, I'd love to hear from you. Drop a comment and tell me, did you feel something shift in those 3 rounds? Even something small. I will read every single one. The research papers behind everything we covered today are linked in the description. Real studies, real journals. They're there for you to explore. And if you want to go deeper into this work, breathwork, pranayama, the science and the tradition, let's do it together. Hit the subscribe button now so you don't miss anything. My name's Scarlett D. I'll see you next time.